I'll bite, Judd. What's the bottom of the truth?
Well, sometimes that is better.
Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome back to another Blood and Guts presents Hail to the King, where we talk about the films of Stephen King. With me, as always, Judd himself. How's it going, Matt?
I'm doing fantastic, Adam. Well, that's kind of a lie.
That's good.
Because we're
Yeah.
definitely talking about, one of the least of the lot when it comes to our Hail to the King.
Yeah, and I mean, with Stephen King, you got the good and you got the bad. Not every adaptation is going to be awesome, and this one falls in that category of it's a stinker. We're talking about the 2019 remake of Pet Sematary, and oh boy.
Yeah. I know, like we mentioned in previous episodes, we're big fans of Jeff Goldblum, so, I mean, let's cut to Mr. Goldblum and see what he thinks of the 2019 version of Pet Sematary.
Yeah, let's cut to that.
That is one big pile of shit.
Well, there it is. There it is.
Fantastic, Jeff.
Yep, he summed it up better than we could.
Yep.
How do you want to go down this road? How would you like to start?
Well, I can at least name some positive things, and that is the cast of this movie. Now, they're to me, they still don't hold a candle to the original,
Right.
but I do think overall everybody in their part was cast well. Like, I love Jason Clarke as Lewis Creed.
Yeah.
I love John Lithgow as Joe Crandall.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got some other people like Amy, I'm not sure I pronounced this right, Semetz, that played Rachel, and then the ones that played the kids. They done a good job for what
Everybody
they were given.
did well for what
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can polish a turd and call it
Right.
gold, but you're still
Because
doing just
that's
that.
I think that's the thing too, is
You
perfectly describes this movie for me, is utter disappointment. Because when I seen the cast, Jason Clarke and John Lithgow signed on, I really started having high hopes for it, and especially when they first announced when it went into pre-production. Because this movie's been on again, off again. Like, I know, like, pre-production or development on this version began as early as 2010. But I can remember being in high school back in 2003 where they kept mentioning, well, Pet Sematary 3 happened with Elliot Creed coming back to the old house.
Oh, yeah.
So this was something a long time coming I've been waiting to see, so I really hyped myself up for
Even
it.
that would have been better.
Oh, I agree.
And I'm still a little upset for many reasons.
Yeah.
Because it was terrible, but also because I would really like my money back for the ticket and the popcorn, and I haven't seen any money come back on that at all.
No, I'm with you, because that's one of the reasons why I was so disappointed, because when they announced in pre-production, one of the selling points was that this was going to be a more faithful adaptation. And it was far from that.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how you could get more faithful, but we were going to roll the dice and see what happened.
Right.
And you got a lot of stuff in here that is just, I mean, where do we start? You got the Zelda stuff, for example, was the most terrifying part, if not. I've heard from many folks that the Zelda scenes from the book and from the original film terrified them. I'm right there with it. That Zelda scene scared the shit out of me. I was afraid to go into any door that was closed in the house as a kid after watching this. And they took that whole thing and they turned it into this. You see too much of her. There's a dream sequence where she is her. There's all this stuff going on. I mean, like...
No, I'm with you, and one thing that disappointed me about this too is you look back at the 1989 version, and the makeup in 89 looked a whole lot better than the makeup in 2019. Like, it just, you can see when it showed her back, it looked rubbery. It didn't look anywhere like realistic.
like CGI and stuff. But then they had her fall down the dumbwaiter as the cause of death and all that. Which no. In these films, less is more.
Right.
So in the original, obviously you see her less, and it's definitely enough to leave an impression. This one, just you see her fall down the dumbwaiter. She's walking into the room. She's like twisted up Rachel. Like it just makes me hurt.
It does me too, because the movie had a pretty good budget for a horror movie. It had $21 million. So like for most horror movies, that's about 5-6 times more than what you see. Like I know like Saw 10 come out this year, and that was only made for like 10 million maybe. And like I said, you feel like they can make it go more. And there is some scenes where the atmosphere for me is good, but then there's some scenes where you can tell they're standing in front of a green screen and it just looks terrible.
Yeah, the woods for me look like that. I mean, I hated that wood scene so much, and I feel like the original wood scene in the '89 wasn't the best.
Right.
They still haven't quite figured out how to shoot in woods in the night, of course, obviously because it's dark and because there's no natural, have to simulate natural light. But that wood scene in this one was even worse than the one in '89, which was a hell of a lot better, and there's certain nits for me to pick, like the Wendigo lore. I love the Wendigo as a legend. I love it. If they do a HH in-house featuring the Wendigo, I am all about it. I love the lore. And with this one, and then they talk about that just very vaguely, and then they go right to Judge Dog, what happened to Judge Dog. Skip over the Timmy Baterman story completely, which that was the second part. When I was a child, the Zelda scene and the Timmy Baterman scene, when they have to pull up and set the house on fire, and you hear his dad in there screaming in the original, "No, stop, you're hurting me, me," and he's on the couch, and they're like, "Come on out, he's a monster, we gotta save you," and they set the house on fire. That terrified me as a child. They skipped over that completely in this. And if you look at those two scenes side by side, when Judd tells the story in the original, when Fred Gwynn tells the story in the original, he's sitting in the kitchen. It's dark. It's smoky. The kitchen walls look smoky because, the cigarette smoke is getting on the wall. It's damp. It's nasty looking. It's kind of creepy and ominous. Then you have this scene with the great actor John Lithgow. Don't get me wrong. I love John Lithgow. Have this scene with the great actor John Lithgow.
And I mean, not meaning to cut you off, talking about John Lithgow, I think he's still no Fred Gwynn, but I think he's the one who gives the best performance out of this entire film.
I agree with you. Yeah. But in that particular scene, you look at those two scenes side by side. You have the dirty, dark kitchen. There's hardly any light in this kitchen. And then you have the scene from the remake where they're almost in like a cabin like. I don't know if it's a kitchen, living room, wherever they are. I think it's more of like a living room. It's very bright. It's very well lit.
Yeah.
There's obviously a hard light coming over their shoulder. To me, it feels like breakfast time and not ominous at all.
That's one thing that's kind of missing with this one too, is kind of how they leave out. Like you think about the original movie where when Gage dies, he actually brings up the question, has anyone ever been buried up there? And Joe's like, "Oh, good heavens,
Christ on his throne, no." Yeah. He knocks the bottle.
That never really comes up. Like the only thing that really comes up is Joe's like, "I know what you're thinking," kind of deal. But that's it.
And then pretty much Lewis asks him in the remake, this one, he says, "What happened to your dog?" And it goes over that. Leaves out Timmy Baterman altogether. Doesn't have that ominous feeling of Judd almost realizing, "Oh, I set him up for this. Now I've gone too far."
Right.
And that really, just really gets me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And like one thing I've always wanted to see, and I was kind of hoping we'd see this one, they do touch on it a little bit, is the character of Norma, which is Judd's wife. And I wish in the book she plays a pivotal role, or not a pivotal role, but a pretty big role in the beginning of it, because she actually has a heart attack. Lewis saves her life, albeit she passes away a little bit in the book when they transition over time period. But it's a key part in the book to where That's what really makes Judd like Lewis, and in the book, that's part of the reason why whenever Church dies, he feels obligated to pay him back
Yes.
to help
Yes, very much.
help with that. So I was kind of hoping with this one that they would bring her in and kind of give that connection. Now, you do see like where she all of a sudden takes her mask off and she's got Norma's face and talking in Norma's voice. So I did like that. But if you don't have the character at the beginning of the movie, it really has no impact on the audience who hasn't seen it.
Right.
Because like to me,
Yeah.
all it done to me was like, why did you not have her in the beginning and then have her pass away so it would actually have a bigger impact when that comes up?
And let's touch on something that you just talked about too, is why in the hell do you have this character as the daughter wearing a mask? Which also harkens back to the opening credits of the '89 film,
Mm-hmm.
when you have all the children kind of giving their little spiels about this is where I buried my dog Spot.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the children, you just hear the voices, you see the graves. It's not delivered in an angry or creepy tone, but because it's delivered in a happy tone, makes it creepy. This is my goldfish. This is where, Now, cut to the remake, you have these kids in masks. They're walking through the woods. They're beating on a drum. Oh, that's supposed to be creepy. Which, cut to the later in the film, when she's wearing the mask to do the killing. Why? Why would you do this? Gage didn't need a mask to do the killing, because Gage is already creepy enough because he's that innocent child that you love, that's your child. But he's now turned.
Mm-hmm.
But behind that evil is also that innocence of, no fair, Daddy, no fair, no fair. And now we're going to take it and we're going to put her in a mask and make her. It just.
I'm glad you brought it up, because honestly, I was going to bring it up at some point too. Because at least they tipped their hand in the original trailer to let you know she's going to be the one that dies. She's going to be the one that comes back, because they knew everybody was going to throw a fit, and rightfully so, because you hit on it perfectly. When she comes back, and I don't blame the actress who played the part. I thought she done good for what she had.
What she was given, yeah.
Right, exactly. But it makes no sense in the fact that nobody, I don't care if you're grieving or not, when you have her come back acting the way she does, the moment she starts going crazy the next day and starts throwing fits and acting crazy, nobody in their right mind would know this is right. We're going to have to take care of this. With Gage, he never comes home and interacts with him. He just comes back from the grave and starts killing. He kills Judd.
Killing, but he's methodical. He's sneaky because he's child. Right. He's tiny.
He lures you in. Because like you hear him laughing from the outside, and Mama's like, "Is that Gage?"
You hear that laugh. Hey, come play with me, Judd. And you're like, "Oh shit."
Exactly.
He's got that childlike, but he's also got that evil.
Right, and you lose that with her because she's just crazy from the get go. Not like when she first comes back, but the next day on, she's just crazy from the get go to where nobody, like I said, nobody that's sane would even give her a chance. I mean, the mama knows from the get go something's wrong, but she doesn't do anything about it. And so from that point on, that's where it really, like, up until when she gets hit by the truck, I thought it was just an okay remake. I was like, it's not really that bad, but that for me is when it really goes off the rails.
But then you have that, that takes away too from that psychic element between the daughter, Pat's cow,
yes,
and all that stuff. When they're gone to the mother and father's father-in-law's house, and she's like, I had a bad dream. I had a horrible dream. It takes away from that whole, psychic element that plays. It's almost, because in the original and even in the book, it's not really said, but it's kind of hinted a little bit that, a little bit of The Shining. The whole family has a little tiny touch of that Shining ability. They don't even deal with that in the new one. They're like, no, we're just going to put them in a mask and we're going to make it look creepy. They're going to be zombies.
And that is, like I said, that is kind of crazy how they don't, because they do other stuff to kind of reference the Keenan universe, because they do have like a road sign that mentions dairy.
There's a Cujo reference.
Yeah, Judd mentions Cujo. And so you're doing little things like that, but then you kind of leave that out where I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah, because, they don't have to come out and say, oh, they have The Shining. But there is, with this family in the book and the original film, there is a psychic link that bonds everyone to each other. There's bonds it to tragedy. You know, which is why that first film worked so well with Pascal coming and reaching to Rachel and Ellie. Yeah, and you got that whole, you know, I had a bad dream, you know, and that whole thing. They don't even touch on that. They're just like, nah, we're just going to have a typical thing, and at the end, they're all going to be zombies. And
Yeah, I hated that too.
Oh my God, it just
didn't work.
no, it didn't work, and it's not going to work, and it was a cash grab.
Yeah,
and
I was actually going to get to that in a second too.
I mean,
like I know it's been in it's been in development since 2010, but it feels like they fast tracked it more as soon as it came out and became a big hit. Because it wasn't long after that came out, Paramount's greenlit Pet Sematary is going to come out in 2019.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, I did have high hopes. I seen the trailer. Like I said, I was miffed that they swapped the kids' deaths in there. I was like, it still looks pretty good because, like I said, you got John Lithgow, but then it was just a dumpster fire for me.
It was, and I can tell you, Friends and Fiends, and I have not seen the new Bloodlines or whatever that film. I have not seen it, but I can tell you this for a fact: not one review I've seen, not one review I've read, no one has anything really that well to say about Bloodlines. Which, okay, so say you want to come out and do a Bloodlines. You're like, we're going to flip the script on this one. This is going to be young Judd growing up, having to put his dog down, having to go execute Timmy Baterman. We're going to do this whole thing.
See,
even that didn't do well. So if it doesn't tell you anything, is just let it be.
Yeah, it irks me to no end because, like I said, they totally skip over that in the first movie, yet they want to go back and do a prequel. Yeah, and bring Baterman in. It just doesn't work.
And then the makeup for the Baterman character doesn't even look anything at all. It's just like.
I will watch it. Like I will watch it at some point. I just ain't had a chance to yet, just because I like to give.
I don't know if I want to put myself through it.
I like to give everything a chance, but at the same time, like you're talking about, I've not seen a good review for it, and all the comments that I've read too from other people that are reviewing it is, why would you stick with the 2019 timeline? Why not, if you're going to do that, let's have it be Fred Gwynn's Judd and actually go back to the 30s and do it that way.
And here's an idea for you. I don't know who I'm addressing here, not so much Hollywood, but people that keep making these films. Here's a fresh idea for you, and I don't know if you've thought about it. Maybe use some practical effects makeup and have a good story.
Yep.
Sorry your CGI makeup of Zelda falling down a dumbwaiter with porridge coming out of her mouth. It just looks so bad. It's so terrible.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right on that. Like
it makes me want to hang myself with the good towels.
It goes back to it feeling like a cash grab, and maybe because it does have multiple directors. So, I mean, it's got Kevin Kolstick, if I'm pronouncing it right, and Dennis Windmeyer. And
but they're studio shields at this point. They're under the thumb of whatever the studio says. Just do it.
That's what it feels like. Because anytime, because I know they done it. I can't remember which one, but I know there's an interview done where they said they wanted to subvert expectations. And to me, that's a lazy way of saying we know we don't have a good story, so we're going to subvert the audience's expectations.
Which is why you get this horrible Zelda story, because we know we can't top the original, so we're going to give you more of her, and we're going to have some CGI. We're not going to use a lot of special effects makeup. It's the whole thing.
Well, go ahead and transitioning them. We're going to come to your favorite segment.
Oh God!
And what's that segment, Adam?
That's the parental guide.
Who's it brought to you by?
It's by Karen.
Well, the good thing about
it's not brought to you by Zelda because she ain't in the film very much.
This one, you're going to love this one because I know you hadn't looked at it yet. But this is the top 2 instead of top 5. We're going for top 2 because honestly, we don't really want to get into much more of this one.
No, because it makes my brain hurt.
So you're going to love this. Number 2 is characters drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes. And obviously, after you watch this movie,
you're going to need a whole pack of cigarettes and a good bottle of strong booze.
Yeah, you should have been there, man.
This is a stinker.
Number 1, a man drugs another to unconsciousness in his drink. He doesn't harm him further. I wish somebody would have drugged me into unconsciousness
Oh man,
before I
yeah,
watched
yeah. A
this
couple
movie.
of drugs would have worked good. Well, wouldn't have made it any better though. Would have just been more subdued. But this thing is like, I mean, you realize you cannot do as well as the '89.
Right.
Okay, so I know I'm gonna shoot this thing. Okay, I know that I can't pull off what they pulled off in '89. It's great. You had the iconic Judd, Fred Gwynn. This is written for him, is tailored, custom made.
Right.
Right. So, if I was shooting it, and we do like to shoot films, if you give us some money, we'll shoot a really good film for you. So, what I'm going to do is, yeah, I might even go that prequel route.
Yeah.
And I might even do it justice to where you have a really dramatic Timmy Baterman scene and a Judd putting his dog down. But this is just
Well,
even the legendary John Lithgow couldn't save it.
That's what I
So-
say, and I don't blame Lithgow one bit because he
No, I
has to
don't
work
blame
with
him.
what he's gotten. But they made Judd in this movie, and there's parts where I do like Judd, but he's not as warm as Fred Gwynn is in the previous one.
No, and Fred Gwynn.
Yeah.
So,
For him to be the backbone, though, you can't have him being like a borderline rude in a lot of
he
things.
just delivers the lines.
Yeah.
It seems like John Lithgow's just reading the lines. There's somebody holding a card,
Mhm.
and he's just, sometimes that is better.
Yeah.
And then it's just like a shrug of the shoulder. When Gwen delivers it, it's set. You got the setting, the dark, dank kitchen.
Yeah.
With the tiles where he smoked so much that the tiles are yellowed.
Mhm.
And this, and he's got the, sometimes Lewis, that is, but and it's just, everything in delivery from Gwen is just beautiful.
Well, you can tell the studio knows this was divisive because we were talking about Bloodlines earlier. That one didn't even get a theatrical release because, I mean, on paper, this one made a profit because, like I said, it had a $21 million
made profit
budget.
off me that I still want back.
Yeah. And they ended up making $113 million
I want my
worldwide.
money back. Are you listening to me? I want my money.
But like I said, for a horror movie, that done pretty good at the box office. But they had no faith in this one. They just stuck it directly to streaming. And on that, I think it was Paramount Plus is what it was on.
Yep.
So
And it get really. I'm not trying to cut you off, but it
No.
goes to that old "fool me once,
yeah,
shame on me" kind of thing.
shame on you. Fool me
on
twice. Shame on me.
Twice. Yeah, and you fooled me twice with this one because I saw the trailer and I was like, I'll give it a shot.
Well, I remember you being excited for it.
Let me give you my money, which I still haven't seen back, like I said, but.
Well, the sad thing was too, the director of it, he really wanted to crack this one, and I don't know for the life of me.
Muschietti.
Yeah, I don't know what for the life of me why Paramount didn't go with him after the success.
I would have rolled those dice.
Yeah, oh, me too.
Yeah.
That's why I'm honestly like he's tied to a Howling remake, and like I said, I don't normally care for remakes and stuff, but since he's tied to it, I'm actually gonna give that one a shot.
All right, yeah, I'll roll those dice.
But rounding out then, Evil Adam, I think we covered a lot. So we always talk about Goldblums or Bones. How would you give this?
I don't know. Well, 1 because I can't give it a 0.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll go 1, 2, and with that, then we're going to toss it to our friends from the Film Men at Work to see what they thought about this movie.
Yeah, and the original Judd.
Mm-hmm.
Just where does this lie? We're going to leave it to the original Judd to tell you where we think this one should go, and any potential ideas you may have about Pet Sematary.
Yep.
Where can it go?
Hey, this is shit. It's shit. Get it off me, Frost. Get it off. It's shit. It's shit.
But sometimes that is better.